get in, chop.
I'm a bit self-aware, sometimes it's fucked up, but life is gonna lie, so I ain't gonna slow up. I'm on a mission to change the face of mental health, kicking knowledge to my people, cause you know that health is wealth. It's your lucky day, cause you tuned into the greatest. Out here striving to survive, sometimes we fake it till we make it. If your mental health is slipping, then please don't touch that dial, go and grab a cup of tea.
Yo, what's up, you guys? It's your girl, Treaty LPC, and thank you for tuning into this week's episode of the Self-Aware and Up podcast. Y'all already know what time it is. Last week, I had his good friend, and this week, I have my good brother on the show, Noel Jordan. Y'all know I'm going to call him Ken because I really don't care about all of these new nicknames you got for yourself. It's Kenneth Noel Jordan to me. He is the owner of Relentless Motivational Group, and he is also the podcast host of Relentless Conversations. He's an author, a speaker, my very good friend. He creates content, does a whole lot of stuff. He's really just an all-around good dude. We've shared a lot about his life over the last several seasons of the Self-Aware and Up podcast. So without further ado, please welcome to the Self-Aware and Up podcast, Ken. Hey, Ken, how you doing?
First of all, you getting all professional and all this kind of stuff, man. So, yeah.
Professional. Look,
It's good, though.
It's hard out here in these streets, but we're going to get into it today, and we're going to explore a little bit about what you got going on. I know the audience knows who you are and knows what you do. So just go ahead and bring them up to speed. Where are you now in your journey?
Well, let's say this, because, most people know me as K Noel. They know me as the Relentless Motivator, but let's talk about Ken. As you say, and let me put this note out here, though, because not everybody calls me Ken. You have to be close to me to call me Ken. So let's just say, let's talk about Kenny. But it's been a journey, and even to the point of where I didn't feel motivated, where I didn't have the hope, where I didn't have the faith, and those moments still come, but I've gotten stronger where I feel this, but I'm not this. The sadness, it hits me sometimes. The discouragement hits me sometimes. Sometimes I really just want to say, flip all of this. Let's turn the lights off. I'm just going to stick to my job. I'm not studying, creating content for me, nobody, writing, working on any books or anything. Because we talk about helping people. We talk about inspiring them to be the best version of themselves. But I come to terms with this, that life happens. And life will hit you so hard to the point that you just like, man, forget this. Forget y'all. It's some kind of thing. I don't know where it was at. I saw it on social media in Japan or China or something, where you can pay a certain fee and your whole name can be erased and you can have a fresh start. You ain't got no bills or nothing. Man, I was like, that really sounds nice.
Yeah. I need that information.
For real. But life hits us that hard, and I appreciate your platform because you discuss these type of things, because a lot of people don't, because we motivate and stuff. And yeah, I get it. We all need the push to keep going and stuff. But sometimes life does hit you where it's like somebody chained you to a rock and you just sinking down. And you get to a point where you was fighting to try to swim out of the water. And you just like, man, I'm tired. I'm done. So that's where I've been, man. And where I had to come to an awakening to, okay, this is not who I am. This is not my identity. I don't know if I told you, but every so often, what I use to distract my mind now, I get on ChatGPT and I get it to ask me how to speak a word in Chinese. Don't look like that.
Most of us just use Duolingo. I'm just saying, but ChatGPT, okay.
I'm paying for it, so I mean, why not? But even still, just the distraction of focusing on one word or a sentence. Like one day I was feeling away and I asked ChatGPT to help me how to say, I'm hurting, I'm discouraged, but I'm still relentless. It taught me how to, don't ask me how to say it right now, but it taught me how to say that in Chinese. And it took me a minute to learn it. But by the time I actually got it, everything that I was thinking about was irrelevant. Because I am an overthinker sometimes, and I'm to myself and stuff. I was telling you, I realized, now I need to start getting out more. I need to start being around people, because the worst thing you can do is be alone. And don't get me wrong, some moments we do have to be alone. But for me, I've learned, okay, now I've done this alone stuff, but it's not beneficial for me to try to sit with myself, because myself sometimes is deceiving me. Myself is sometimes telling me all kind of, crazy stuff, or overthinking it and over processing stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. Sounds like you've been on quite a journey, and I just wanted to rewind this thing a little bit, because you kept on saying forget them and forget this, and all I kept hearing in my spirit was fuck them, fuck this, because you want to keep it cute, because all church and shit. But I'm like, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you in the fuck everything of it all, because it can be too much. Like you said, we want to help people, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like, one, where the fuck is our help? And two, we can't do it alone. We need a village. We need people. And I think a lot of that, sometimes when we deal with situations in life, we can isolate ourselves from others. Do you feel like you were intentionally kind of pulling yourself away from others? Like, what was that part of your experience like?
I think it was a little bit of both, because, naturally anyway, I'm a loner. And, I keep to myself anyway. I can go to my mama's house and I'll probably spend most of the time in my room and wherever I'm at. When I was younger, my aunt, they would love for me to come, because it's like Ken isn't even there anyway, because he'll be in the room. So I've always been that kind of person. But sometimes through our life journey, what I'm learning, life was really taking me on the journey to redefine who I am. I started journaling, and I wrote a letter to my old self, which was Krazy K. Krazy K was angry. He was hurting and all this kind of stuff. And I told him, because that side of me, I was afraid of that side of me, because I was afraid of still becoming that. I was afraid of doing sales, because I was afraid of coming off as a hustler. And, trying to hustle somebody out of money, instead of me, really, I'm just doing business.
Yeah.
So I wrote this letter to Krazy K, and I told him, I know what happened in the past. You was hurting and all this kind of stuff. And I told him, I said, I'm afraid to let you out, because I thought you were dead, but the reality was you was just locked up in a cage. And I'm afraid if I let you out, you're going to wreak havoc. I'm afraid that if I free you, it's going to be hell on earth. But what I told Krazy K, life is different now. We are different now. And I told in that letter, I gave the expectations of where we are and who we are. And I renamed Krazy K. I said, you are no longer Krazy K. I said, but now you are King K. You are King Noel. And I start in that letter, I start defining who is King Noel. Because this journey that I'm on, it wasn't for nothing. And I'm big on, I'm not about to go through something and not get nothing out of it. I ain't getting, not get a lesson out of it, not get a book out of it or something. But this was personal for me. It wasn't for everybody else. Yeah, everybody else may benefit from it. But first and foremost, this is for me because I've been doing everything for everybody else. I've been making the content to motivate and inspire everybody else. But now it's time for me to start motivating and inspiring me. What can I do to motivate and inspire me? What can I do to change my mindset? So one of the things I implemented was I started journaling. I journal like 3 times a day now. And I have 3 journals, and each one of them has a purpose. Yeah. Actually 4, depending on how I'm feeling that day, if I really just need to get some stuff out. But in those journals, it's writing out wisdom, even lessons from that day, painful lessons and stuff. But what did I learn from it? So it is definitely been that journey. And even still, I had to take a step back from a lot of people for a second, just because you mentioned that, so that I could see everybody. And I had to see who is benefit. And let me put this, I'm just now coming out of that now, where I see, okay, who is for me and who is just trying to gain from me. And because in the end of last year, I also started putting people in categories so that I can understand. But now one of those categories now is really irrelevant, because if you're in this particular category, why are you even in my life? It's nothing personal. It's nothing being bitter or anything, but we don't have no mutual interest. Because I had realized one thing about myself was that I was trying to be faithful and understanding and appreciative to people who weren't giving the same energy back. And I read this book by Mel Robbins called Let Them. And she talks about let them, but also let me. So if that's the energy you on, I'm going to let you do you, but I'm also going to do me, which means I don't have to reach out to you, because in my moments that I needed you, you weren't there, and it's cool. I'm no longer bitter about that. So now, as I'm redefining who I am, now I'm bringing all of my friends, the people that I cherish, back in, and stop trying and not being standoffish, so to speak.
Gotcha.
Because I told you gave me that space. You didn't know what was going on, but you gave me that space.
I was cussing you out on the other side of it. Like, what this nigga got going on?
I'm sure you was, because I know you.
I called you one time, like, hey, and you was like, I said, no, I was just going through something. I said, all right, bye. I don't know what it was. I was like, I'm just checking on your ass or whatever. And you was like, I'm just going through. So I was like, all right, I ain't. Because, I ain't going to push. I'm not. Because, I get in my feelings if I do or whatever. And I probably still going to get in my feelings. But, it is what it is. But I want to know more about these categories. What were the categories of people that you put the people into? And I want to know what category I got put into too.
You was in the inner circle. That's no question. But it's the inner circle. And then and the inner circle for me is friends. Not friends, but family. Those who I consider like my family. We're not blood, but you still family. Then there's the friendship circle. Then there's the business relationships. But then there's I don't know who you are. That's the irrelevant circle. And so because I learned to define my relationships, I know how to talk to people. And what I mean by how to talk to people, me and you will have a conversation where I'm openly telling you, this is how I'm feeling. This is the situation I'm going on. But a friend, I may not tell them all of that.
Mm.
And the reason why I learned this, because sometimes we can get so much in our emotions that we start vomiting because we need somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we start vomiting to the wrong people because they're not safe to talk to.
Mm.
Because they will try to either go run and tell your business, probably couldn't wait to tell it, probably telling it while you on the phone with them, or they'll eventually turn around and use it against you, or they're really celebrating what you're going through.
Yeah.
So for me, I had to be careful of the stuff that I was telling people. So that helped me to define them. And, and I'm sure in previous episodes, I talked about the friends that I was upset with because when I needed them, they weren't there. And that's fine.
Mm.
And I let them be who they are, but let me be who I am. I'm not fit to continue wasting that energy, that time on stuff that doesn't matter, that's taking up this mental mind space. You said it. I do a lot of things. So I can't spend all my time sitting there dwelling on different things. Do it happen? Yeah, but that's where I create the distractions for myself to stop those thoughts, even if I got to meditate or something.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. So I appreciate you clarifying those categories and where I fall, because I needed to know. I always like to check in because shit changed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know a lot is changing for me with friends. Like, I've been purging my Facebook page recently or whatever, because it's like, I met you one time at some random spot and we never talked again. Why are you on my page? Like, why are we connected? Like, there's no benefit you're adding to my life. There's no benefit I'm adding to your life. We just taking up space or whatever. And so I've been doing a lot of that and evaluating friendships in my life. And I think friendship is so important. You use the term family. And that's how I think of my closest friends. I think of them as family, my chosen family. And so I think that so many times that dynamic change, because you fall out with your family too. Like, if you like me, you fall out with them a couple of times here and there. But for me, I've also been kind of redefining what that looks like and knowing where to put people. My categories aren't quite like your categories, but at the same time, it's kind of like I'm seeing people who really truly are there for the right reasons, and people who are there and don't want to do certain things out of jealousy and out of, like, oh, I see you going on this trip, so I don't want to do this, that, and the other. It's just that type of thing, energy that I'm reading from a lot of people. But I know you talked a lot about your kind of like you're shifting things. You're doing a lot with meditation. You're doing a lot with like just going inward. I know that historically you've kind of, you've been a preacher. You've been doing all this other stuff. Like, what is your spiritual journey like right now?
It was at one point, the person that you first met when that's been 20,000 years ago, I wasn't him anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I had distanced myself from God. And the stuff that I've been going through, it actually brought me closer to God. But I'm also now being me.
Mm.
Because I'm not being who the church think I need to be. I'm being who God says I need to be, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also being me, who is a human, who also realizes I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to piss some people off. Some people going to piss me off. I may say something. I may go off on you. You may go off on me. But at the end of the day, I know who my belief is in. I know who I'm praying to. I know what my relationship is. I know that I can repent and come back to him. I know that I can have a conversation with him. Mm-hmm. So it has actually made me stronger as a person and as his son. So I think that's when you talk about the spiritual aspect of it, that's where I am. And I'm still wrestling with some stuff because truth be told, I really don't want to get back into preaching, but that might be a battle I may lose. But yeah.
How might you lose that battle, Ken?
Huh?
How might you lose that battle?
I mean, who can win a battle with God? So.
Interesting question. You know, I've been fighting for years, so.
I ain't gonna say nothing because every time I bring it up, you get mad. So
say what you gonna say. It don't really make me no never mind. You know that.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just still waiting on the next play.
Man, I don't know why you be on these plays like this. Don't nobody even write no more. And that ain't even, yeah.
You writing, but you just not writing plays.
Yeah, because that ain't where my heart is anymore.
Okay.
So, you know how that goes.
I get
I'll be fighting other stuff too. One day I'm going to just turn around and become a pimp in the pulpit, but you know. I feel like, you know, life would look different if I did that, but I have to stay true to myself, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pimp in the pulpit.
I mean, because that would it be though most of the time. It'd be like, hey, you know, preachers they be doing their thing. And then they be doing their thing outside of that too. So not all of them, but some.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha. So you said you've been battling a lot though recently. Can you talk a little bit more about like where some of your battles have been?
Which we talking about, naturally or spiritually?
Whatever realm you working in.
Whatever realm I'm working in.
All right, listen.
Well, first of all, my battle's been mentally. And, you know, I was talked about the distractions with that. And, you know, trying to create the distractions from the distractions. Mm-hmm. And just stop beating myself up over mistakes. It happened. It ain't nothing that I can do about to change it, what happened back then. But I can also, but what I can do is change my approach, because now I'm looking at, okay, why did I respond the way I responded to that situation? And what can I do to make sure I don't respond that way again? What changes can I make in me so that my response is different? I've been doing a lot, I mean a lot, on it, studying and developing in emotional intelligence. And I've been tested lately where people go off on me, and instead of me stooping down to their level, now I'm still going to say what I say, but I'm not letting them bring me down to their level to the point where I'm arguing now. I've learned how to say what I say and still remain calm. Does it piss me off? Yeah. But I'm learning how to control myself. Now, don't get me wrong. Now, sometimes it's like a shaking plane. I'm starting to shake a little bit because some of the screws is coming loose a little bit. But I do my best to keep everything together. But I also learn to realize, okay, if it's not going anywhere, why are you even still here having this conversation with them? And even with that, it takes putting aside my pride and my ego. Because, you know, you got to have the last word. I can't let you feel like you got the upper hand on me, but it is what it is, because sometimes you got to let the foolish remain foolish, the ignorant remain ignorant. Let them think that they got the upper hand. But at the end of the day, I'm a mastery of myself. I've learned that just because I'm telling somebody out, that isn't strength. Strength is me being able to control and how I communicate with you, even though you pissing me off. Because I'm going to say what I'm going to say, but you're not going to make me to the level that you piss me off to I'm dropping down to your level. Because part of emotional intelligence is I'm also going to say what needs to be said. I'm going to give you those uncomfortable conversations. Now, how you take it, that's up to you, because now it's exposing where your EQ really is.
Mm.
So, and I've been big on that, becoming a master of myself, self-mastery, and to have that self-control. So that's the journey right now that I'm super proud of, because even in the church, I feel like the church really needs to work on their EQ levels, because they don't know how to have the hard conversations. Instead of me getting up on the pulpit trying to talk about it, because let's be real about it, that ain't a fair conversation, because you're talking up there and we can't go talk back and forth, have a one-on-one conversation. Yeah. So you're really just attacking me, if we're being honest about it. Because if we want to go biblical, the Bible says if you have an ought with your brother, you bring it to them. So if I have an issue with you, I'm going to bring it to you. And that's, again, part of emotional intelligence. Now, you may get upset about it because a lot of people don't like taking constructive criticism. Yeah. And we tend to get defensive. And now I want to lash back at you instead of me. Okay, well, you might be right about this. Let me take accountability for my actions. Let me work on this. And I was thinking, I was like, man, healing is crazy, because you are a healed person in an unhealed world. And to have to deal with unhealed people on a daily basis, it's like, bruh, it's challenging. That's a challenge in itself. I'm like, this is wild, because the old me, yeah, bro, I ain't finna let this ride. But I'm learning what's worth the energy and what's not. And it ain't worth the energy. It ain't worth the time. You think just because you can't take accountability or something, I'm finna sit here and waste my time trying to explain it to you to make you understand, like, oh, can you just please take accountability and please, nah, bruh. I said what I had to say. Now I'm going. I give you the opportunity to talk. But if we're just going in circles, yeah, I'll chuck the deuces at you.
Yeah. That's my motto. Whatever, peace. I never forget. I still have that sermon on DVD a pastor out of Tennessee did in the early 2000s. I was like, that has been my motto. That was my username at one point, my screen name, whatever, peace, because I was like, I am not letting anybody disrupt my peace. So it's going to always be whatever, peace. So, yeah. But I'm proud of you for working on yourself. All of this stuff is cute or whatever.
Cute? What?
No, I'm just saying it is. It's like, okay, look at you over here growing up and stuff, little brother. But, big sis ain't there yet. I still cuss somebody out every now and then. But I always tell people, like, I have a restraint professionally that I do not have personally. And that probably because I always have to keep it together professionally and not cuss people out at work. And, obviously I'm not cussing clients out. I think in my personal life, anybody can get it. I think it's just pent up anger and aggression that I can't take out in other places. And that's called projection. But nevertheless, I have less restraint. But I'm working on it. Maybe I'm just not as emotionally intelligent as you are. So here's that. Be reading and shit. But anyway, I don't have time to read.
That's why you use audiobooks.
I ain't got time to listen to no damn audiobooks. Like, no, I just don't have time. Again, why I'm taking some steps back from some of the things that I'm doing. So yeah. But I do want to shift gears, and I want to know, how do you personally connect with the idea of being self-aware and fucked up? And don't give me nothing you recycled from previous episodes. I want to know right now, today, how do you personally connect with it?
Woo. Man, look, we all seen the Titanic. You know, when Jack was on the little piece of board.
Oh my gosh.
And what was the girl name? I can't think of her name right now. Whatever, yeah, whatever her name is. And she was yelling to Jack. That's how life be lifing sometimes. Part of myself is calling out to myself, reaching, just grab my hand. And it's just like, bruh, I'm done. I'm finna check out on y'all. And if I check out on y'all, then I'm going hit them up Tupac 96. Cause every now and then that song do hit my head in my thoughts, but then I'm like, let me calm it down a little bit. So yeah, my self-awareness, it kicks in and reminds me where I'm at, who I'm dealing with, and how can I not go this route and take a different route? Because I have a coworker, and he'll probably watch this episode, and he know I'll talk about him because our relationship is weird sometimes, because I'll tell him off and we'll keep going about our day. But I'm also, because it's like he knows the buttons to push. So, you know, some areas I'm still a work in progress, and sometimes I do have to pop off sometimes to hit that Tupac hit 'em up. So, okay. But it was a situation with me and him that happened that made me realize, man, I need to go back into working on my EQ some more, which led me to reading this current book that I'm reading or listening to. So, but the past couple of 2 incidents that I've been dealing with has made me realize, okay, this stuff is really working. And dealing with, you know, sometimes feeling depressed and being aware of, I am not depressed, but I'm feeling depressed. It's a big difference of play of words, because to me, what you speak is everything. So you heard me throughout the episode, I've been saying I was feeling. And I am not. Depression is not my identity. So I this is how I am feeling. If I'm feeling anxious about something, I am not anxious. I am feeling anxious. Shout out to my therapist. That comes from some work from therapy.
Yes, therapy.
So it's a lot of ways that I in this current journey that I've been on, that even alone, where I feel one way, but then the self-awareness kicks in. I was just having a conversation with somebody before we started, and I was telling him how I was feeling, and he checked me on it. He was like, don't let this situation make you feel out of where you react out of a place of hurt. Still be who you are. And conversations like that is needed, because y'all piss me off sometimes when y'all tell me the truth. But again, you have to take accountability. Nobody likes feeling the correction, but okay. I appreciate it. It's painful, but it's appreciated because it puts me out on the spot. So it's like, let me put my ego and pride aside and really take this in. Let me really listen and do the work.
Yeah.
So I've been broken. I've been beaten down, felt like. But in the midst of it, I still see myself rising up. You know, I told it before we even started, I'm a whole different person than before. And I can see the changes. And I had to tell myself, man, I'm proud of you. I got something, I got sticky notes on my desk at work. You deserve it. Just different stuff, because I have to, I have to encourage myself too. What's the point of me encouraging the world and then I'm going back after discouraged, feeling down, and all of these feelings, instead of going into doing work and encouraging myself? And I think a lot of times we don't do that. We don't want to do that self work because it is work. And in our day and time, let's keep it 100. We don't want to do the work. It's too hard to do the work, and it's too difficult because it's pointing out it's pointing out us as who we are. Mm-hmm. But when you come to the point that realizing that in order for me to grow, in order for me to elevate and become a better version of myself than I was yesterday, I have to take these corrections, because taking these corrections is cutting off negative traits that I had, or bad traits that I had, to make me become better. Mm-hmm. I can't get through this next door if I'm carrying all of this unnecessary weight that I have. Mm-hmm. So what is it that I can do to make these changes, to make these adjustments? It takes, and that's why I was saying I'm learning now that I need to be around people more, because there will come conversations that we will have that will help you, that can help me to where we can grow. And it's not just me by myself going around in my head. And then I have to create a distraction for myself and all of this, when I can be around people and have conversations. And even that, it decreases feeling depressed. It decreases feeling discouraged. It decreases the overthinking and helps me release all of this stuff that I'm going through, because being around people can be can help me distract what needs to be distracted. So that is some of the things that I'm learning, why it's important for me to be around people.
Thank you for sharing. I mean, obviously, isolating yourself is never a good thing. We do need people. We need community. We were built to be social creatures, like from the beginning. That's why God gave Adam a helpmate, because it's not good for man to be alone, if we want to go biblical, whatever they said in the Bible. Anyway, but I'm going to do something a little bit different here, just because I know you and you know me. I asked you about your self-aware and effed up moment. I want you to tell me, what do you think makes me self-aware and fucked up? Damn.
I'll say this. I've seen the hurt that you've been through with family, the disappointments, the crying, the personal situations, and how you was in your awareness, you knew you needed to get help in it, and you would go to therapy. You would get the help. You could be stubborn sometimes. Sometimes I'm probably
all the time.
But you find a way. And I think in society's mind that just because of the work that you do, that you're not human too. And that's, you don't even realize it, but that's some of the stuff you've taught me too. That, hey, being human doesn't neglect nobody. Life gonna hit everybody, no matter what field you're doing, no matter where you are. Life is still gonna life. No matter if I'm encouraging and motivating everybody else, I still need encouraging and motivating too. So even still, to see you put your pride aside and say, I need help. That is one of the most biggest and powerful things that we can do and say, is I need help. And that is where I am now, where I'm learning to put my pride aside of not wanting to talk to people about what I'm going through and just cry, let them know, hey, I need help.
Mm.
And whether it's a friend or whether it's therapy, you do that.
Yeah.
You if you need to vent, you will do that. That stuff you was teaching me and you didn't even know it.
I'm just living.
But our life is a lesson.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Gotcha. But I appreciate you going on that journey with me. I just wanted to throw something at you that you weren't.
Yeah, you tried to throw me a curveball.
Yeah, I did. Gotcha. But Ken, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you always showing up. As you know, we don't know what the future of the Self-Aware and Up podcast is going to be and how many more seasons I got in me. This might be the last season, but if it is, I appreciate you and just your encouragement along the journey of even getting this show up and running, doing the editing when I could afford to pay somebody to edit, doing the editing for me and making sure that everything was kind of on point. I really appreciate everything that you've poured into my life as my brother, my friend over the last 20 plus years, as well as just everything that you've poured into this podcast as well, because without you, this podcast would not exist either. So I just wanted to say thank you for that.
If you get opening up like this, huh?
What this? How can people connect with you if they want to reach out, listen to your podcast, do any of the things that you have going on right now?
Yeah, you can find me on every platform as K Noel Motivates, even my YouTube channel. You can check out my websites, relentlessmotivationalgroup.com. Yes, I know it's long. My podcast website is relentlessconversations.com. So yeah, that's where they can reach me at.
All right. Well, thank you again so much for your time. Guys, please make sure that you connect with K Noel Jordan. The information of how you can connect with him will be in the description of this episode. Also, be sure to follow me, Tree the LPC, on all social media platforms under the handle Tree the LPC. Until next time, be safe, be well, and make sure that you take care of your mental health.